Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the School of Science. My name is Luke, and this is the post-match action for Chelsea vs Everton. Chelsea won, Everton no. Now, we're going to try and break this up into three little sections. So first half, second half, and look to the future, with an overall in between. So first half, let's talk about the good first. So, decent movement with the ball. Jake O'Brien did fairly well as a centre-back. It's going to take him time to get used to being in that centre-back position. With Tarkowski being out for the rest of the season, he's going to have plenty of opportunities to do so. I think him and Branthwaite, they're going to have a decent little dynamic together. But I don't think it's going to be the sort of dynamic that you're going to see with Tarkowski and Branthwaite. But I do think given time, they will get a nice little relationship together there. They'll get an understanding and they'll be able to push up as well. So looking at that game today as well, that back four was an extremely young back four. So I've got the stats right here. So you've got Mikolenko, 25 years old. You've got Branthwaite, 22. You've got Jake O'Brien, who is 23. And Nathan Patterson, who's 23. So there's no real seniority in there in regards to like a particular person who stands out in terms of age. Because Tarkowski's 30 to 31. He's sort of around his peak age for a centre-back or a defender in the Premier League. So we're missing that sort of authority figure in that regard who's trying to control that back line. He's saying to say you got Branthwaite, he's going to Branthwaite. Right, Branthwaite, push up or come back. O'Brien, push up, come back. Nico, up, back. You know, that sort of thing. You're missing out on the captain in that regard. I think Pickford was the captain today, wasn't he? Yeah, he was. It's on the sub score there. I've got the sub score on the second screen. I figured I'd sit down and try and do it in a more stat sort of variant to just see how that goes. Because it's all well and good standing up back here, but I've got to do everything on the fly in that regard. But yeah. So in regards to the goods, we did have a little bit. We asked a few questions in our first half. Not a lot, but we did ask. We were trying to push. We were trying to do things that we do best. I just felt a few players did let us down. Takori, he did sort of revert back a little bit. I thought coming into this game, it's a good opportunity for him to sort of stamp his authority and say, look, I'm here to stay. I want to get this contract. I want to sign this contract. I want to stay with this club for the foreseeable. But in this game today, I found that his performance was a bit touch and go. Off the ball, he was getting around the pitch. He was closing down players, doing his usual stuff that he does well. But on the ball, again, usual stuff. When he gets the ball, becomes static. And he sort of waits a little too long before he makes his decision. He seems to be caught in two minds, which seems to be the thing that's gonna do him in over the course of time. And we can't keep doing that. We need a number 10 who is able to receive the ball from the midfield or receive the ball from the defence, and he knows what he's going to do with it next. He needs to be able to get the ball, turn, either go or pass, whether that be passing wide, passing in, looping a defender, threading through a defender for the attacker to get onto. He needs to be the second to last option or the last option before that ball goes into the net or gets put out for a corner. Unfortunately, he's not doing so. He's not doing that. And I think with the next game, that next game being Ipswich, he needs to take a sideline. He needs to sit it out. And from there, we need to look at a different way of doing things. I mean, there's plenty of ways we can go about it. We've got three extremely creative midfielders who can operate as number 10s. Those being Alcaraz, Ndai, McNeil. Those three can be very creative number 10s. But in all honesty, I'm going to talk about this later because I don't honestly think we need one number 10. I do think we need two. And the way I think we should go about it would be much better than how we've went about it today. Now, bear in mind what I talk about in the future. It's going to involve Breuer, but as you know, he was cup tied because he is alone from Chelsea. He can't play against his parent club, so we couldn't use that one in today's argument, but we can use it for future arguments. So yeah, so let's talk about the bad. So the bad today, we just looked out of it. We looked like a team who wasn't pursuing everything. We weren't a team that were trying to, stamp out authority, saying, right, next season, this is going to be our season. We're going to be the guys who are going to be pushing up the table. You need to fear us. In the first half, that is, anyway. We seem to be very slow in transition. At one point, but I'd probably say in the first 15 to 20 minutes, it almost looked like we went back to dice ball. We were just sort of lazing about, passing about, and not really pushing forward and saying, right, what are you going to do about us? It didn't look like that at all. And come the 27th minute, we had the ball. Basically, Beto received the ball in the middle of the park. Way too long to make his mind up. Got his pocket picked. Enzo threads it through for Nicholas Jackson. Nicholas Jackson then got the ball. Just past the edge of the box. Slotted it. I do think Pickford should have done that touch better. It was a low hard drive right into the corner of the net. I do think from the distance, I do think Pickford should have maybe had a bit more of a hand on it. But as you know, them goals happen. Those goals do happen. I mean, looking at the stats and looking at the player ratings today, I mean, Pickford, I need my glasses on for this, sorry. Don't get old, guys. Honestly, it sucks. Right, so Pickford, he's looking at a 7.9. Branthwaite, 7.3. Idrissa Gueye got a 7. O'Brien got 6.9. Patterson got a 6.7. Garner got a 6.7. Harrison got a 6.8. In Die today, he looked creatively out of his depth. He did have a go. He did challenge, which is good. But he hasn't got the options around him. And I think that's where Alcaraz will come into it. I do think if you get the two of them on at the same time, they're not like for like identically. They have different traits, but I do think the two of them will communicate well together. So I do think they're worth a go. So whether you sacrifice Zagori for Alcaraz, or you bring Alcaraz out wide and have Ndai in the middle, there's many ways we can go about that in that regard. But having him sitting in the middle of having Zagori and Ndai alongside Beto, it isn't a working formula. Beto, I do think he will do better in the Italian league. That's more of his pace. Whether we sell him back to Udinese, whether we sell him on to say someone like Napoli, Juventus, Inter Milan, AC Milan, you could get him somewhere else, and I do think he would do much better because it would suit his play style a lot more. But in regards to say like the likes of Harrison, had a much better game today. Just again as usual, solid game. Mikalenko, he had his moments going upfield. I do think what a lot of people say is true. In regards to Mikalenko, he's a great player when he's defending. He can cut out play really well. He knows how to put a leg in. He knows how to put a challenge in. But going up and being that final option before that ball goes in, he's not there. Unfortunately, he does well to get up the field and do that. But when it comes to his crosses, the subpar. In all fairness, our set pieces are dreadful. We do need to get McNeil back into the play, but we'll talk about that later. So yeah, as I said, bad part of the game, basically dice ball. We just weren't threatening going up in the first half, and as a result of that, when Beto was on his own up top, in the middle of the park, he took too long to make his decision, got his pocket picked, we conceded, and from there, Chelsea were firmly in the driving seat for the rest of that first half. Now, coming into the second half, at the very start, it looked like it was going to be second verse, same as the first, where Chelsea were just going to control the game and we weren't going to get anything out of it. But as time ticked on, so as we know, we made a halftime sub, so when Ndai came off, Alcaraz came on, and that was the driving force to push us forward. Alcaraz was hungry. He was pushing at them, getting them to try and get that ball upfield. And we were doing a lot more. We were doing a lot more with it. There was a lot more opportunities. So there was a rather meek header from Decore. You know what? I don't know how he didn't score that, to be honest. He should have had a more better option with that. Because the ball came in. And I thought it was one of the best chances for us to have scored. Because he got a good head to it, but I don't know what he was trying to do in terms of directing it. He directed it wide somehow. And it would have been easier for him to get the ball into the centre of the net rather than getting it wide. But he somehow managed to direct it. Instead of directing it straight into the net, he directed it wide. It was unfortunate. And A little later on, ball gets threaded through. Beto turns with the ball, has a crack, and forces. His name was Sanchez, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, Sanchez, sorry. The Chelsea keeper, Sanchez, forced him to make a wide palm save. It was a fairly standard sort of save for a keeper, but he made a good effort of it. It was one where if he was caught on the wrong foot, and I'm regarding Sanchez, yeah, it would have been a goal. But because he was ready for it and he was able to get his hand out to it, easy saving. It was easy enough save for him. And then later on, cross came in and McNeil. Pardon me. Right, so before I carry on with that one, so we had three subs. So we made four subs throughout the entire game. So I'm talking about the positives right now. So we were rather proactive with the subs. So Harrison came off, Dwight McNeil came on. That was a problem, in my personal opinion, because Dwight doesn't operate well on the right. He's much more better on the left or in the centre, just with him being so heavily left-footed. He's just not the sort of person you really want on the right, because what he has to do then is he has to shuffle in to get a go. And then you had Patterson coming off and Ashley Young coming on and Beto coming off for Chimiti. In all honesty, though, I think Chimiti has a really quiet game today. Didn't have too much going on. I do think he was he was overwhelmed. That's my personal opinion. He was overwhelmed. So you had Col, yeah, you had Colwill, you had Cucurella, and you had Casado sort of almost coming in as like a back four. So their formation was a 3-4-2-1, but it was more like a 4-3-2-1 in a way. The way they were playing, because Casado seemed to spend more time hanging back than he did going up. So you had four people basically swamping Chimiti, and I do think he would benefit if he had a second striker with him. He is a good point man, but I do think a Breuer or even saying having Ndai. So let's say for argument's sake, rather than taking Ndai off and having Alcaraz on, you brought Corey off, said to Ndai, right, you're my number 10, but you are going to be a second striker as well as a number 10. So you're going to hang between these marks. And then when Belter comes off and Chimita comes on, he's got a bit more support in that regard then. So he's able to make some more runs. He's able to try and get the play out. It wasn't a good game today. It was a sort of standard Everton game, in all honesty. Don't forget, when it comes to Stamford Bridge, we've not won there in over 31 years now. It has been a while since we've actually won there. It's a bogey ground. Sorry. Sorry. It's one of our bogey grounds. I mean, it's not a good ground for us, in all honesty. So yeah, that second half though, a lot more of a drive. I would say one of my only critiques is, I'm not sure whether this would be one for Alcaraz or the rest of the team, but Alcaraz, I was watching him today, very hungry, and we know that he's a very good player when it comes to close ball control. So I do think when it comes to him calling for the ball, if he's got two or three players around him, give him the opportunity. Just say, all right, let's see what you can do. Pass the ball to him. But you're going to have to make sure it's a pacey pass into him and let him try and turn the players. Because I do think with his close ball control, I do think he could probably beat two or three players that are nearby him. But I don't think the other players have got the confidence in that. So I'm not sure how we could work around that. Maybe if it was a meet in the middle sort of thing where you say, right, I'm not going to give you the ball here. However, I don't know what it is today. I'm just so yawny. It was that game, to be honest. But yeah, I'm not going to give you the ball here. You need to try and find a little bit of space. If you've got a player near you, fine. But you need to find some space. You can't be surrounded by players and expect the ball to come to you. We know that you've got the ability to beat close players, but when it comes to the Premier League, these guys are going to hack you down if you're going to do stuff like that. So maybe something like that. Try and get the communication out to him. But yeah, but overall, we did have a solid performance. We were lacking in some areas. We do desperately need a point man. We need to fix the final third. This is going to be an ongoing issue until next season, I do think. If we're able to find a temporary fix, whether that be Breuer and Beto, Whether that be, I don't know, ditching Decory, getting some more creativity. Whether that be, there's so many ways we can go about it, but we just, I don't know. And Moyes, I feel like he's got his hands tied with this team at the moment because he's limited to the players that he's got. I mean, on the bench today, you had Alcaraz, McNeil, Young, Chimiti, João Virginia, Begovic, Seamus Coleman, and Timmy Burnham. So looking at them today, you've got, let's see, one, two, three defenders, one, two, three midfielders, a striker, and two goalkeepers. Yeah, I got that right, I think. Yeah. That's 9. So you had 2 keepers in there. You had 3 defenders, 3 midfielders, and a striker. In all honesty, you should really be looking at trying to have, say, I'd probably say 2 wide, so left and right, whether that be defenders or midfielders. You need to get a good balance. You need a reserve keeper, and your other 8 need to consist of, say, 2 midfielders, 2 defenders, a wide man, and a striker. I don't even know whether that's the right amount. But yeah. So looking ahead, we've got Ipswich. They got beat rather humbly. What's their score ends up being? Quick look. This is a good thing of having another screen. So yeah. So Ipswich played today. They got beat 3-0 by Newcastle, and they had someone sent off. So the person who got sent off was, let me see. There we go. So they got Ben Johnson sent off. So he's going to be missing for the next game. It was 2 yellows to a red. So they're going to be down a player there. So where does he play anyway? Let's have a quick look. Right, so Ben Johnson, he plays. So they're going to be missing a right midfielder, according to this anyway. I'm not sure of the true validity. But overall, they've not had a good game today. So they've had an average rating of 6.4. Their best players on the pitch today were Greaves, Wolfenden, O'Shea. I mean, the Lap didn't have a great game today, got subbed off. There's a lot of their players didn't do well today. To be fair though, you're playing up against a really good Newcastle team at the moment, so take that as you will. But they're going to be coming to Goodison Park. This is going to be the penultimate game. This is the last game, by the way, with the 1878s doing the display. I know they're going to be doing a TIFO. They are going to be doing a TIFO there, so that's going to be interesting to see how that comes out. And on top of that, the last game of the season at Goodison, being the Southampton game, that one is going to be... I am yawning all day today. I don't know why. I'm not tired, that's the thing. I'm just yawning constantly. I think it's just because I'm thinking about yawning. I am yawning. Yeah, Everton are going to be doing their own little special thing. As we know, the Southampton game is going to be a midday kickoff, a really early kickoff. Not sure how to feel about that. But to be honest, it's going to be an emotional game, the last game. But we're going to talk about the Ipswich game. So this is how I would line up for the Ipswich game. So as you can see, it's basically almost like a 4. It is almost like a 4-2-3-1. However, it's also like a 4-2-2-2. So as you can see, I have got a couple of arrows here and there. So how I'm talking about this is as we're pressing. So you got Mikolenko and Patterson pushing up. So they're going to push up towards the midfield. They're going to try and be wide options whilst Ndai and Harrison come in. So before we do that, we'll talk about the formation. So as I said, Pickford in goal, Mikolenko, Branthwaite, O'Brien, Patterson, with Garner, Guy, Ndai, Harrison, Broya, and Beto. So looking at that, I know a lot of people will be saying, oh, why have you got Broya and Beto? Why have you got 2 strikers? What you got to take into account, Broya is a second striker. Every time he plays, when you watch him play, he sits deep in the squad. He sits basically between where Ndai and Garner are right now, or should I say, where Ndai and Idrissa Gueye sit right now. So in a pressing sort of thing, he will push up. And he likes to have the ball deep and he pushes forwards. Whereas Beto likes to sit at the defensive line, have his back on a defender and try and turn them. So in this situation, I do think this is your most beneficial team to get a result, especially against someone like Ipswich, who are pretty much relegated to this point. So this is how you can do it. So as I said, Mikolenko goes up alongside Patterson. Idrissa Gueye could sit in between O'Brien and Branthwaite, just a little bit ahead of them, whereas Garner can sit at number 8. You've got your wide men then coming in, so they're basically, the two of them going to act like number 10s in that regard. Whereas Breuer is going to be the second striker to Beto. It's a nice, narrow play style, so you're going to be going right through the centre of the park, but it's also got the ability to be wide if needs be, that being Mikolenko and Patterson. So if we are in possession and we're all narrowed up, if Ipswich are starting to sort of press at us and try and keep us in that narrow position, then when them players are going, the wide players are going up, you can then push it out wide, force Ipswich to open up, bring it back through the middle to someone like Breuer or Ndai to open it up and either have a crack at goal or put it through to Beto so he can have a crack at goal. Now, bear in mind, Beto is on a bit of a goal drought right now, but there is opportunities for him in the future. There is goal-scoring opportunities there. He just needs to get it. One goal is all he needs, and then I think the floodgates will open up again. You'll get the rest of the season, you should get at least 1 or 2 in a game. But again, Ndai, he needs to be one who needs to be scoring as well. Breuer needs to get himself on the sheet at some point. We can't be relying on Beto. He's not the option at the moment. If we can make opportunities for him, great. But we do need other striking options. So yeah, so that's my thoughts anyway for the next game. I do think if you were to put this lineup out, I do think you could dominate. We should absolutely blitz Ipswich at the moment. They're a wounded dog at the moment. We should be able to go in and absolutely storm them. Especially if you've got the Goodison faithful right behind you. I know a lot of our fans, they go into the boo brigade the second things aren't going the way they're expecting. I will hold my hands up and say I know people around me who will say it. I hear people who are behind me. The second things aren't going well, the guy could be the best player on the pitch by a long shot, but because he does a sideways pass or puts it back because he can't see an option, all of a sudden, boo, you crap, boo, what are you doing, boo, boo, boo. So much whinging, I can't be arsed with it myself. But let's try and drown that out with some positivity. I understand we've won, 2-3 games in the last 10 to 12. We're not on a great streak at the moment, but what we've got to take into account is we've played so many Champions League and high up teams. I mean, we've played Liverpool, we've played Man City, we've played Chelsea, we've played Arsenal. We played a lot of people in a lot of very, very good teams in a very compact time frame. So I don't think this is going to give us a fair vision of what the team's like. But come the end of the season, I do think Moyes, he's going to break the bank to get as many players as in as possible. I've heard Kudus, I've heard Souček, I've heard Delap, I've heard a lot of players. I do think we need a striker. I do think we need a natural right winger. I do think we need a natural right back. We need, depends on who goes as well. I do think we need to get pen to paper on Idrissa Gueye. Decore, I do think we need to sack off. We need to get rid of Keane. We need to get rid of Holgate. We need to get rid of a lot of dead woods in the squad. And we need to invest smartly. I do think we need another left back as well. But these are all for a future video. But in any case, guys, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. If you like the video, you know what to do. If you want to, throw one of these. If you don't agree with what I've said, I know you can give me one of these. I don't mind. If you want to give me some feedback, if you think I need to go back over here and start standing up again because, I don't know, you don't like seeing me sitting down with a chair behind me, it looks lazy or anything like that, put it in the comment section below. Just let me know what you're feeling. Also, I'd like to say a big thank you to all the guys who are part of the Cup of Coffee tier, so all the guys down here. If you want to be like these guys down here, and get your name at the end of the videos or even midway through the videos. We do it sometimes at the very beginning, in the middle, or in the end. If you want to get your name down here and help support the channel, as you know, I operate this stuff out of my own pocket and the YouTube revenue. Now, bear in mind, the YouTube revenue isn't all that great. It fluctuates all the time. So if you guys are able to spare less than £1, it's 99 pence per month to help support the channel, help me upgrade my hardware, help me upgrade my software, help me do things like sorting out the backdrop. I want to get some more acoustic paneling around here as well. I want to sort out this back. I want to get this in a nice little, nice sort of mid-grey satin, so it sort of breaks away from what I normally wear, because I normally wear Everton's tops, nice royal blue tops. But as you can see, the royal blue behind me here, so this cover, that's the closest thing to the royal blue in here at this point in time, and it's almost very close to what it's like on the back wall, so things blend in that regard. So having you guys help me upgrade this channel, make things better. As I said, I can get green screens back here where I can do a lot of editing wizardry, because I know the demographic of my channel is on the old end of the scale. So I'm going to say techno wizardry, we'll call it, where I can make things look a little bit more magical. If you guys can help me sort all these sorts of things out, that would mean so much. As I said, I've got 3,200 followers on this channel. I can't tell you the exact number right now. I think it's like 3,240 or something off the top of my head. But if 1/10 of you guys were able to provide for the channel, so if you guys were able to donate £1.99, you're talking nearly £320 per month. Now, with that sort of money, I can upgrade the CPU on the computer. I can upgrade the GPU on the computer. Let's say over the course of a year, we could upgrade the CPU, the GPU, the RAM, my motherboard. I can sort out the backdrop. We can get a green screen. We can paint this thing. We can get acoustic paneling on the sides here. I can make another room where instead of me sitting here, I could be sitting on a couch. I could have things that are more interactive in front of me. So we could do something similar to what, if you've ever seen the old big board on the bottom where Sky Sports have it, where they're doing all their little magic stuff, where they're moving things around interactive. I could potentially do stuff like that on the channel. So I could have a second camera that's looking over like a table, and I can green screen that sort of stuff in. And as I'm moving my fingers and doing things like that, I can have my own little editing tricks and doing stuff like that. So yeah, if you guys are able to support the channel, it's greatly appreciated. If you cannot, simply liking the video, subscribing to the channel, sharing it amongst your friends and family. These sorts of things help massively when it comes to like retention and revenue to the channel. I know I'm talking about all this mad revenue sort of stuff, and I know it's not really stuff that's on the average person's mind, but it is important for the channel and for us to keep doing what we're doing and improving. But yeah, that's I have bored your ears off for, let's see now. This is a good thing I've got a recording timer. Nearly 30 minutes. Holy crap, that's a long time. I've been doing this for nearly 30 minutes now. So yeah, I'm going to cut it all off here. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekends. I know it wasn't the result we were wanting, but onwards and upwards. We've got games there with potential. I do genuinely think over the course of the future, things are going to be going up for Everton. So give it time. Come the new stadium, I do think that's going to be the point where the floodgates are going to open and Everton will surge up the league. I mean, right now we're close to where I was actually predicting. I did say around 10th to 12th in a video before the season kicked off. So we are in and around that sort of area. At the moment, we're sitting about 14th, 15th, 14th right now. We're above Man U on goal difference. Wolves have overlapped us. So we're sitting around near the area, slightly below what I was predicting. But I do think over the course of time, if the results come our way, I do think next season we can aim for a Europa Conference point. Depending on how the other teams do, we could potentially get 8th or 9th, I think. And then we just push on from there. But in any case, guys, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. You know what to do. If you liked it, do that. If you don't like it, do that. If you want to suggest anything to this channel, comment section below. Honestly, I do love reading the comments. And if you want to share this with friends, family, anyone who's an Evertonian, whether they're here in the UK or somewhere overseas, or if they're on the moon. But yeah, if you want to suggest this to friends, family, or anything like that, that is massively appreciated. And like I said, a cup of coffee tier down there, £1 a month. You'd be humping out the channel absolutely immensely. But that's enough, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. Take care and peace.